Welcome, I'm really happy to see you here. This is Richard Sachs, your host from Lost Arts Radio. This is our little extra show on our YouTube channel. We have a special treat for you today. The first time that I've really had a guest on that is an expert in almost every subject. That's very rare, as you can imagine. His name is Doktur Idoo Noitall, and he is with us today for the first of what we hope will be a long series of talks, since he has this kind of expertise on almost everything. We have a lot of questions for him, as you can imagine. So welcome, Dr. Noitall. He's with us on by electronic media. Are you there, Dr. Noitall?
Yes, Richard. It's accurate of you to say this. It is a special honor for you to have someone of my stature on your little, what should we call it, your radio show, your YouTube channel, whatever it is. But I do take some of my time out of sheer compassion for young aspiring radio hosts or old unsuccessful radio hosts such as yourself to help their careers. And usually when I appear with them, their videos go viral and their careers actually get started. So I'm glad to be helping you out in that way, and I hope you have something interesting to talk about.
Yes, Dr. Noitall, there are so many subjects that our listeners wanted me to ask you about. It's hard to know where to start.
Yes, I understand it would be hard for you to choose a topic adequately. There are so many things so many misunderstandings you have that need to be straightened out. I understand. But that's what I'm here to do.
Well, many of our listeners wanted you to clear up for us all the misconceptions around vaccination, and I think we will come back to that. It's an incredibly urgent issue that we all want to talk to you about. So we'll keep that right on the front of the line. But I think before that, because of what's just happened in Florida with the horrible school shooting and tragedy around that event, we'd like to talk to you about that first, since it's right on the top of the day's news.
Yes, I know. Everyone is talking about it, around my office as well. A senseless, terrible tragedy that could have easily been prevented.
I think we should talk about that, Dr. Noitall. I'm glad you agree. And I guess the first thing that I want to ask you is, what is the best way, in your opinion, to prevent these horrible school shootings, so that if we did whatever is the best response, that they would not happen again? What do you think?
Richard, I'll try to make this simple. Take it down to the level that you and your listeners might understand. Plus, of course, my time is extremely valuable and expensive, and I have many appointments waiting. But I am doing this as a gift to you and your listeners, so I hope you appreciate that.
I understand, Doctor. We definitely appreciate your being here.
In any case, we need to keep this as short as possible, because of all my waiting appointments. So this is actually quite simple. There are 3 things we need to do immediately to prevent incidents like this from happening again. First, we must post all of the gun-free zones in languages, not just English, in signs not more than 20 feet apart. More than 20 feet, you see, would be racist against shooters with poor vision or other disabilities that we're not even thinking about.
Okay, let me write these things down so I can remember them for our listeners. Number 1, more complete posting of gun-free zones. Got it.
Absolutely, that posting is critical. And number 2 is equally vital. Between every 2 posting signs that we just talked about, you need to post other signs that say, teachers and staff in this school carry no weapons. Essential that we do that.
Right. Number 2, teachers and staff carry no weapons. Okay.
Exactly. And number 3, we need to make gun ownership totally illegal for those that refuse to follow common sense rules.
Well, certainly no one could be against common sense safety, right? So what are those common sense safety rules, Doctor?
First, all weapons, all firearms, need to be stored in a completely disassembled condition. They must be stored not lying around in the open, even disassembled. They must be stored in an official government-approved gun safe that cannot be opened other than in the presence and with the help of an official certified government security agent. This is essential to understand. This guarantees, just right off the bat, that no spur-of-the-moment, senseless gun violence can ever occur with the gun that is disassembled and in the safe that must be opened by two people at once. It's amazing that no one below my intelligence level has ever thought of this before.
Yes, I can see how that's a big safety factor, and there would be a lot less shootings if people could not access their weapons quickly. You're right.
Exactly. You're beginning to understand. And in addition to what we've already covered, homeowners and people who live in apartments anywhere there are dwellings need to post signs, high visibility, in several of the most common languages, and maybe some of the uncommon ones as well. We don't want to be racist. And those signs must say, this home is a gun-free zone. No one in this home possesses weapons of any kind. There is no threat to intruders from anyone in this home. And just to make it clear, firearms not accessible to residents of this house. I just can't understand that nobody has thought of these things before. They're so obvious. This is why they call it common sense.
So, Doctor, I want to ask you, how will these precautions that I've been writing down here, how will they change the shooter's behavior?
Try to understand. Guns are expensive, and they're also very inconvenient to carry around if you don't have to. Have you ever tried carrying a 50-pound assault weapon on a 50-mile hike? Now answer honestly.
Well, no, not actually that I can remember.
Of course you haven't, because it would be inconvenient. Do you understand? So with this in mind, think carefully. Why do shooters have to use weapons?
To shoot people?
Now that is a right-wing extremist answer, but I'll forgive you. I know you've probably been brainwashed by your right-wing conservative friends. No, you don't understand. The only reason that shooters have to carry guns is when they go into a home or a school because of all the stress they're under. There might be Second Amendment crazies or right-wing extremists with guns there. Otherwise, they would have no need to carry around those heavy, inconvenient guns. It's the fault of the people that they're coming to kill. Get that clearly in your mind, and all the other pieces begin to fall into place. It's just amazing, the clarity of my vision. So you understand, in addition to the other stress the shooters are under, they have this great fear that where they're breaking into, where they are intruding, there could be some crazy person with a gun. And this makes them very nervous.
Well, I guess that is a reasonable fear.
Yes, this is a source of great stress and worry to the shooter, and it makes them violent. It is not their fault. If they knew it was safe for them, they would not have to bring guns, right? Then they could just beat up a few people to let off some of the stress that society has unfairly put on them, and they might not even have to shoot you. It's incredible. This would prevent so much violence and death. Sometimes they might not even have to beat you up. They could just use harsh language, and that would make them feel so much better. It would end the incident, just because they knew that there were no guns where they were breaking in. And if they break into your home instead of a school, say they're doing the school next week and they're just going to do your home for tonight, they could just take a few things to partially offset the incredible injustice that society has laid on them, and it would make them feel better, and they might not even have to shoot you at all. Just think of it. This could actually be a huge step towards social justice and world peace.
Thank you, Doctor. In writing down your list, this new understanding makes me feel so much better, actually. But there is one more question that we need to address before we are done today and before you have to go.
Yes, Richard. What do I need to clear up for you now?
Well, you know, a lot of people, including listeners that we have and other people I've talked to, have brought up the idea that training and arming the teachers for defensive use of firearms to protect the children could have saved lives. What do you think about that?
Oh, Richard, I'm trying to get you thinking clearly. You're not watching enough mainstream television. Don't you know this is a far right-wing conspiracy theory, and it's racist?
Oh, well, I guess you're right. I haven't watched much TV for the last 15 years. Have to admit that. But I have to ask you, why is it such a bad idea to have trained, armed teachers protecting the kids instead of having to just sit there and let them be shot? What's really wrong with that picture?
You know, this interview is just taking too much of my time. Do you realize what it would cost to pay for this much time for me if you were a patient or a client or a consulting client? You have no idea. And there's still so much that you do not understand. I can tell that from your questions. Again, I'm going to make this very simple for you. First, you obviously can never trust teachers with guns. They would just go crazy because of the guns and they would start shooting in all directions. That's why they're teachers and not soldiers or criminals. Second, and remember this is a very important point, school shooters are an extreme minority in America. Making plans specifically for violence against them, against an extreme minority, that's racist. And it's illegal. And you're violating their civil rights. They're already dealing with so much stress that we have put on, well, not people such as myself, but people like you and others in society have put all this stress on them. We owe them so much.
Wow, those are amazing insights, Doctor. You're so scientific and clear thinking. Okay, I know you need to go now, and I appreciate your spending so much time with us, Doctor. I can really understand listening to you that it's been way too long since my last sensitivity training, and I need to get back for a refresher course right away. And folks, you can see the depth of insight that Dr. Know-It-All has and his vast range of expertise. Send in, and this is something I asked him about, he said it would be all right. And he'll be back to give us more of his wisdom. But send in topics that you want Dr. Know-It-All to address, things that you'd like to finally understand. What is the true point of view and the actual logic to questions that you've had for a long time, or maybe new ones. And you can send all the topics for Dr. Know-It-All and specific questions to me at richard@lostartsradio.com. Richard@lost, L-O-S-T, arts, plural, A-R-T-S, radio.com. And we'll get those questions to Dr. Know-It-All as quick as we can. And remember, don't miss our next episode with Dr. Know-It-All. As soon as he's back here, we're going to ask him this all-important question. What's the real scientific reason that everyone should immediately run out and get your flu shot today, if not sooner? Or maybe multiple ones. We'll ask him, if you want to be really safe and make up for other people that are threatening herd immunity, could you maybe get 2 or 3 or 4 flu shots on the same day? Would that help? And we need to get his insight on that question. So I want to thank you for being here. It was great timing on all of our part to be here when Dr. Know-It-All came for his first session on the Lost Arts Radio YouTube channel to enlighten us about one of the urgent topics facing us today. And he'll be back again soon to continue this series and straighten up as many of these misunderstandings for us as he possibly can. And I want to tell you this too before we go. If you are ready to go beyond satire, beyond even the level of Dr. Know-It-All, and you realize that something is going on that's not satire, that your physical, mental, and emotional health are under immediate and severe attack, and you want to know what are the tools that you might be able to use to raise your defenses against those attacks, get back and maintain and enhance your physical and your emotional and your mental health by natural means, without drugs, without potentially deadly vaccines, without any of these things. How can you maximize your immunity to things like chemtrail residues, microwave fields, EMF fields, residues of all kinds of toxins in our environment. What can we do in a natural way to withstand that, keep our minds super clear, our bodies very healthy, our energy at a normal high energy level all the time? What are the things we could do? We're going to go into that in a new project on Lost Arts Radio. It's once a week. If you want to learn the details of it, I'd really like you to be there with me if you can. This is your personal invitation. To see the details of how it's going to work, go to lostartsradio.com/club, C-L-U-B. The stuff that we're going to be getting into is personal and sensitive, and it's going to be in a special closed club format, but you've got my invitation to be there, and really like to meet you in that place. And it'll be full video format. It's going to be exciting. It's already started as of this last January, but we've been waiting for you. So to learn more about it, go to lostartsradio.com/club, and I'll meet you there. Stay tuned for more with Dr. Know-It-All. Thanks.